Living in Sunnyside Estates wasn't exactly a dream come true, but the peaceful walking trails and short commute made it a compromise I could live with, especially for my companion, Maverick, my loyal golden retriever and trained service dog. To anyone passing by, Maverick might just look like a beautiful, gentle dog with shiny fur and kind eyes. But for me, he's everything. He helps me manage episodes of PTSD from my time in the military. When the flashbacks hit, when the world gets too loud or too fast, he's there, steady, uncheckable, grounding me in the moment. A literal lifeline. Everywhere we go, Maverick wears his service vest. He's obedient, calm, and more professional than some humans I've worked with. I've studied the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, backward and forward, because sadly, not everyone respects or understands the rights of people like me. But even with all my preparation, I never expected to have to defend those rights against the president of my own HOA. Enter Karen Whitfield. The first time I saw her, she was marching down the street like she owned it, clipboard in hand, frown lines permanently carved into her forehead. She introduced herself with a level of self-importance that practically screamed, "I'm in charge here." She glanced down at Maverick and sneered, "I don't believe I approved a dog in this community." I calmly explained that Maverick wasn't a pet. He was a service animal and legally allowed anywhere I go, including this community. She huffed and muttered about people finding loopholes, then walked away. But something told me that was just the beginning. The HOA harassment begins. Within the next 2 weeks, I received 3 petty violation notices. My grass was allegedly 1/4 inch too long. My mailbox was the wrong shade of black. Seriously. My trash can was visible from the street for 45 minutes after garbage pickup. Each complaint was signed with Karen's extravagant signature, complete with a creepy little smiley face. I complied with everything, choosing peace over conflict. But I knew she was just waiting to pounce, the rule change that went too far. At the next HOA meeting, Karen proposed a new rule requiring all animals, including service dogs, to be registered with the HOA and wear special HOA-approved ID tags. I raised my hand and calmly said this violated federal law. Karen cut me off and snapped, "Federal laws don't override community standards." People shifted uncomfortably in their seats, but no one spoke up. After the meeting, she came up to me and hissed, "If you want to be difficult, I can be difficult too." Her breath stank of stale coffee. And ego. The attack on Maverick. A few days later, I was enjoying a quiet morning on my porch with Maverick dozing peacefully at my feet. The sun was warm, the newspaper crisp in my hands. But then, a shadow crossed the lawn. Karen stood at the edge of my property, wearing her signature khaki shorts and holding a spray bottle. "Your dog is violating the new pet ordinance by not having the proper identification," she shouted for the whole street to hear. I reminded her, again, that Maverick is a service dog protected by federal law, and that her new rule hadn't even passed yet. That's when she lost it. "I'm tired of you military types thinking you're above the rules." Before I could react, she sprayed Maverick directly in the face. He yelped and stumbled backward, pawing at his eyes. I stepped between them and shouted, "What the hell is in that bottle?" Karen smirked and said, "Just a little vinegar and water. Won't hurt him. Maybe now he'll learn to respect authority." I took Maverick inside, rinsed his eyes, and held him until he was calm again. No serious injury, just irritation. But that wasn't the point. Time for justice. I dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? I need to report an assault against my service dog. When the officers arrived, I showed them Maverick's certification and documentation. One officer stayed to take my statement. The other went to speak with Karen. From my window, I could see her throwing her hands in the air, face contorted with outrage. But the officer wasn't impressed. They returned and told me Karine admitted to spraying Maverick, claiming she was enforcing the rules. But guess what? Interfering with a service animal is a federal crime. So is animal cruelty under state law. When they asked if I wanted to press charges, I said absolutely yes. The fallout. Karen was arrested on the spot, handcuffed in broad daylight as neighbors peeked from behind curtains and stepped out to watch. Somebody whispered, "She finally went too far." Another neighbor came up and apologized. "We've all been scared of her," they said, "but not anymore." The legal system moved swiftly. Karen faced multiple charges, including interference with a service animal, animal cruelty, harassment. She showed up to court in designer clothes, flanked by a high-priced lawyer, but none of that mattered. The judge was clear. Community rules never override federal law, especially when it comes to disability rights. Karen pleaded guilty to a lesser charge to avoid prison. The sentence? 30 days in jail, $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service at an animal shelter, mandatory classes on disability law. At an emergency HOA meeting, the community voted her out unanimously. No one defended her, not even her clipboard. The last glance. In the courtroom, as she was led away, she looked at me. Her face, once full of superiority, was blank. Defeated, humbled. She mouthed something that might have been, "This isn't over." But we both knew the truth. Maverick sat beside me, calm, focused, a true professional. I scratched behind his ears. He leaned in. And just like that, we weathered the storm.